how to screw up your ceramic coating.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is the DIY Detail Podcast. Today we're going to dive into some common things we've seen, read, heard, and talked about that could screw up your ceramic coating. And Nick, go with the list.
As always, we respond to your comments on YouTube. We get emails and DMs, and those are our pleasure to answer and respond to, but also they give us ideas on what content to put out there because we know what questions you have. So thank you for the engagement. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, we answer them all, and let's get into it. This podcast was inspired by a question around, I applied my ceramic coating and then I was freaking out. I heard there was things called toppers that you could use, so I put ceramic gloss on right after I did the stack. Is that okay? I'm freaking out now. And Ivan, maybe we should just promise many topics, but start with this idea of a topper, because we don't prescribe a topper directly after you apply ceramic coating.
No, some coating companies, you actually need to put their topper on, and that's fine. That's how they've engineered it. We've engineered ours that it's one and done. You put the coating on and you're finished. You don't need to put a topper on it. You don't need to protect it against the elements because you're wanting to drive it within, 5 days. No, once you've put one of our coatings on, 1 hour later, you can drive away in the rain, in the snow, whatever, it's safe. It is not necessary to put a topper. And actually, by putting a topper on, you can actually damage the coating. Yes, it's cured. It has a little skin on it. It has that little crust, but the topper will actually break through the crust. And depending on what topper it is, some are actually quite aggressive. Quick beads, ceramic gloss, not that aggressive, but at the same time, not prescribed. Please don't put a topper on. Don't waste your time.
Well, we say wash the car after a week, then you can put ceramic gloss or quick beads on. What if they use ceramic gloss a lot sooner than that?
Like I said, you can actually damage the coating. So you can actually reduce the hydrophobics and the slickness of the coating by doing that.
Wow, okay, good to know. I mean, I'm saying wow as if I'm shocked. I know you shouldn't do this, but folks out there are doing it. Let's say they did that. Is it like SOL or what should they do?
No, it's just going to, scar the coating, for lack of a better term. So you won't get the full performance out of your coating that you're expecting. But the coating's still there doing protection. You're just not going to get the beading and slickness you desire.
Which is why you got the coating in the first place, for all the advertised effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Which happen when you apply as prescribed with the proper prep.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we should really start, Ivan, because we started with, where'd the inspiration for this come from? So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about prep. How important is prep? Because if you don't do the prep right, you can really mess this whole thing up.
Right, and prep is extremely important. And by prep, we need a perfectly clean surface. It doesn't need to be polished to perfection. The condition of the paint is up to you. When it comes to scratches and marring and stuff like that. That's 100% up to you. If you're happy with your paint, go for it. But cleaning the paint is extremely important. And there are a lot of myths in the industry, like one of them being that dish soap will prep anything because it strips everything. Dish soap strips absolutely nothing. It doesn't do anything to your paint other than maybe leave a bit of film on the paint that hides what a wax could do. So no, dish soap is not proper prep. The other thing that's not proper prep is isopropyl alcohol, IPA, rubbing alcohol. Leave it in your medicine cabinet. It is not a detailing tool. It is not something you should be using to prep your paint. We have DIY Detail Panel Prep, or we have C6 Adhesion Promoter Polish. Those are the two that have been engineered and designed to work with our coatings. Don't use one from another brand, and don't use our panel prep with another brand's coating. They're not designed to work together. So keep that in mind. Proper prep is going to give you the best longevity from your coating. And the keyboard warriors, you're out there, you're already typing this. You can stop right now. Yes, you've probably used another brand's panel prep with another brand's ceramic coating, and it worked for you. Great. But what have you really done long term? What have you compromised because of that? And we're giving you the best possible preparation, and that is using, if you're using brand A as your coating, use brand A as your panel prep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I'd say the most vicious comments are on TikTok. And then I think Reddit's a pretty interesting place for a lot of people's claims. We scour it all. We're all friends here, but on the internet, I think it can get a little vicious. Then you meet people in person, and it's like, oh, okay, we can all get along. But I see people saying like, just use isopropyl alcohol, and they think we're really trying to like sell them our panel prep just to sell another product to them. I'm like, no, it's really not like that. No. And also long term, I mean, you could not do any panel preps at all and put a coating on, and it might look shiny and seem glossy and seem great right away. But we're talking about compromising longevity, right? We're talking about months and years. And a lot of guys may, as professionals, maybe they use the IPA or the isopropyl alcohol, whatever you want to call it, and they send it, they don't see the car again, and it looks and performs fine. Or maybe there was a few variables that went just right for them, and it was fine for them, depending on the coating, Ivan. But those folks are out there who will stand by the fact that IPA is the only prep you need for a coating.
Yeah, they will stand by it, and that's fine. They're compromising their own coatings. Doesn't mean you have to do it with yours. Okay,
so if you trust the source, which is DIY Detail, Ivan, myself, just use the proper panel prep with the coating brand. Just use them together.
Yeah, exactly. They're a team.
They are a team. So I have improper prep and panel prep in the same category, right? I feel like we just sort of took care of that. We talked about toppers. Let's go into like temperature for a second, because I know we've said this in a lot of videos, but we do have a lot of people who don't have the perfect ideal garage conditions. I certainly don't. What should they know about, okay, what's acceptable? I just don't want to compromise. I don't want to mess this up. What temperature is ideal?
Okay. Well, temperature ideal is 50 degrees Fahrenheit at the low end and about 100 degrees at the top end. You can go below, you can go above that, but your working atmosphere or how you work it, you're going to have to be very attentive to what you're doing and very, meticulous. That being said, we can all agree that coating should be done in an ideal temperature of 70 degrees and controlled humidity and all that. That's rarely the case. Not everyone has a climate controlled shop. Not everyone has that. I don't have that. You don't have that. And we tried climate controlling our film studio, and apparently now the AC is all in. So the next time we film, we will have AC in there, but we'll need heat by then. But nonetheless, we've had extremes in temperatures in our shop as well. It can be dealt with. With our coatings, you can deal with it. You just have to watch what you're doing. But we get comments on the other side of the spectrum, and especially on the Facebook group, this is a question that gets asked often, what temperature? And we don't mind answering the questions on the Facebook group because it is there to have questions answered. So if someone asks a question that's been asked 2 weeks before, that doesn't matter. We'll answer it. The search feature on Facebook is there. It's not always reliable, and it's not always the best way to get information. So just ask your questions. But we'll get that person replying, well, they've answered it before. Yes, we have, and we're happy to answer it again. But use what your coating manufacturer tells you to use. There are some coating manufacturers that shouldn't be applied anytime below 60 degrees and shouldn't be applied anytime above 80 degrees. So those are things that you need to figure out. With our coatings, we like to say a range of 50 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 to 35 Celsius. That works. In there, you're safe. Now, coating outside. A lot of people think you can't coat a car outside. Mobile detailers, yes, you can coat a car outside. If you don't have a garage, you can ceramic coat your own car. You just need to be thoughtful and careful about it, meaning that if you know it's going to rain in half an hour, you might want to put it off. If there's no rain in the forecast for the next 3 or 4 hours, you're good. Go ahead, start coating. It's not that big of a deal. Our coating can be rained on 1 hour later. So as long as you're done 1 hour before it starts to rain, you're good. A lot of people also overthink it a little bit. And, it's a common trait in this industry, overthinking. And one of the overthinking, what about the dust? We have as much dust in our shop as a lot of people have outside. And sometimes that little breeze outside actually helps take the dust away. So it's not that big of a deal. If you are in a very dusty environment, you may want to hold off, or you do the panel prep and the coating one panel at a time. So as you're doing the panel prep, no dust has had time to settle, put the coating on, and the coating, as soon as you've put that coating on and leveled it, which is 1 or 2 minutes, You can pile the dust on there as much as you want. It's not going to stick to it. It's not going to cause any damage to it. So don't worry about coating outside. It's perfectly safe. It's a perfectly acceptable thing to do.
What about if you're doing it at night and dew starts to form?
Same thing. As long as you've got 1 hour of dry surface, you're good. And in the morning, you're going to see spectacular beading because, dew deposits itself so gently on the surface that it makes these wonderful beads. And that leads to another question. What if I just hose it off? No.
Yeah, and it's a tough one because people aren't malicious. They're not out there trying to do bad things.
No.
They're not evil if they use their hose and then they just let it dry and then they ask us why their coated car is getting water spots. I don't want to blame you and be like, but you probably have hard water and you just let it sit there, and then the water bead from your beautifully coated paint, obviously it left that ring of minerals that evaporated with.
Yeah.
I even tell them about why they shouldn't just hose off their coated car with water.
Well, the root cause of that is really bad marketing from dealerships and other companies that sell ceramic coating, saying you'll never have to wash your car, just hose it off, it'll be fine. No. Whenever you're putting water in your car, it should be accompanied either by a contact wash or some form of drying. And just spraying water on it and drying it with a towel is not a good thing either. Water is not a lubricant. It is not a way of washing. It is a solvent. It is not exactly lubricious, and it's not going to clean properly. So we have the case of you just applied your ceramic coating, it gets a bit of dust on it. Oh, I just hosed it off and let it air dry. Well, as Nick said, you're going to get mineral contamination. You get all sorts of things happening there. The other aspect of doing that is some people, I just hosed it off and dried it with my towel. Again, not the greatest thing. And even if you're using a leaf blower, the leaf blower is just drying some of those minerals into the paint. So it's not going to be a good way of doing it. Now, we say not to wash the car for a week, but let's look at the other side of that. Should you wash it before? Only if you need to. So if you've got bugs on the front end, if you have bird bombs all over the vehicle, then yes, you'll want to wash the car, but safely, with caution. And there are ways to wash a freshly coated car that are not going to damage the coating. So don't get out there with your APC and start washing. Use rinseless wash. Use Incredible Suds. They're both perfectly safe to use on a recently coated vehicle. And the reason we say hold off a week is not necessarily the surfactants, it's improper wash technique and pressure. If you apply pressure, your coating has formed a skin or a crust. Below it, it's still bonding with the paint. And pressure points from improper washing can sort of disturb that bond. It's not going to make your coating fail, it's just going to make it not last as long. So hold off from washing, be patient. But if you have a bird bomb, if you have bugs all over the front end, yes, get your rinseless wash out, get your Incredible Suds, foam it, do a gentle wash. The key word is gentle.
So what should I change in my wash technique? Not using a pressure washer and using a garden hose instead, or not putting any pressure on my wash sponge or mitt?
Not using pressure on the wash sponge or mitt, not getting that little detail brush and going around the emblems and stuff. You just finished detailing it a day or so ago. There's not going to be that much accumulation. Now, a week in, wash as you normally would, as long as you have a safe wash technique. And that leads to another thing that, people have this misconception on, and they think they're screwing up a coating. And this is something that you're not going to screw the coating up. People think they need to buy special products to wash their ceramic coating. They think I need a ceramic coating soap, or I need a ceramic coating rinseless because now I have a ceramic coating on my car and I have to be extra careful. You don't have to be extra careful with the ceramic coating. You can actually be a little less careful because a ceramic coating can deal with a lot more aggression in terms of chemicals than your paint ever could by itself. So a ceramic coating does not need a special pH neutral soap specifically designed for ceramic coatings. No, that's just great marketing from some companies. It is not a necessity.
What about the clay bar? Surely claying is going to mess up my coated paint, right, Ivan?
A clay bar, yes, 100%. Uh, but a perforated synthetic decontamination towel like ours and proper lubrication is not going to do it. One of the common misconceptions is that as soon as you clay it, it's removing the coating. Clay bars, clay towels do not remove coatings. You need a lot more aggression than that to remove coating. A clay bar can actually damage a coating by scratching it, though. Whereas a perforated synthetic decontamination towel like ours, mixed with proper lubrication, is going to give you a beautiful finish and decontamination. And that is something else that a lot of people are afraid to do is, now that I have a coating on my car, I need to decontaminate more often. No, you don't. You need to decontaminate less often because a good coating will be almost self-cleaning and is not going to get contaminated as fast. But on the other hand of it, you do need to decontaminate it. Decontaminate as necessary. When you feel that the coating's not slick anymore or the water's not beading the way it should, give it a good wash with rinseless or incredible suds. Get out your perforated synthetic decontamination towel, your iron remover, and gently remove the contamination. Then from there, our secret weapon, our best friend, the water spot remover, is going to take all the minerals off your coating and bring it to like new condition. And that's something that a lot of people, they see that their coating isn't performing the way it should, and they automatically assume they need to polish and recoat. That's not the case. Try a good decontamination first.
There's a really common thing that people do with their cars, Ivan. They wash them.
Yes.
They also take them through the car wash. Will the car wash destroy a ceramic coating?
No, it won't. It won't destroy a ceramic coating in the short term. In the long term, you are going to slightly damage it. We have two types of car washes, right? We have the chemical type and we have the brush type. So we have the touch-free car washes. A lot of people assume they're safer for a ceramic coating, and in some cases they are, but they use very, very harsh chemicals to be able to clean a car without contact. And anything that is stripping away traffic film and doing that is going to be a harsh chemical. Now, it may not be affecting your ceramic coating and probably isn't affecting your ceramic coating, but all the things that you haven't ceramic coated on the car, those are going to be affected by those harsh chemicals. The other thing is, they never really do 100% clean. You need that agitation, you need that contact wash to be able to get a really good cleaning. Now, the brush type car wash. Things have evolved over the last, decade or so. They're safer than they used to be. If you have the old school type with the fast turning nylon brushes, they're definitely going to be damaging your coating. Some of them, though, now have the neoprene brushes that are rotating slowly. They're well cleaned. If you're going to a well-maintained car wash where they do proper maintenance on the car wash, it's actually not damaging your coating that much. Yes, any car wash will eventually show some damage, but it's not the worst case scenario. Some people hand washing at home do a much worse job than the car wash does. What the car wash doesn't do, though, is properly dry the surface, leaving stuff on the surface. And a lot of car washes use a drying aid that actually attracts dirt. And somewhat by design, they want you to come back more often, but at the same time, it also attracts contamination to your vehicle and keeps it there. So those drying aids are not necessarily the greatest thing. The drying aid that they use definitely helps with drying, but some of them use a mineral oil-based drying aid that causes the car to get dirty a little faster because it's actually holding on to dirt. Next time you go through the wash, it's clean again. You don't need to worry. It's not a permanent thing. It's not, damaging your coating, but it is attracting and holding dirt a little. So that's one thing. And like I said, they don't dry properly. So a lot of people, you see them, they go to the car wash, they go to the vacuums, they use the free vacuums, then they take a towel out of the trunk and they start drying the drips and stuff without any lubrication on that towel, without any drying aid or drying lubricant. And that's where they really need the drying aid or the drying lubricant is at that point. And they're not using it. So the person that's trying to do a good act might actually be damaging their vehicle more by doing that.
Let's just say the car wash near my house doesn't practice the foam rinse foam method. They actually have employees, right?
Yeah.
and they want you to buy the pass when you first go through, and then they want the tip, and I'm just looking at them like, I haven't even gone through the car wash yet. You're just being very friendly, okay? And then you get up to the entrance, and then sometimes they hit your vehicle with a brush before they pre-treat it. Sometimes they pre-treat it and hit it with a mid on a stick kind of brush, but they haven't done any rinse. So they're already like scratch it, just giving it a good scratch. They're already kind of getting to work. So there's a lot of, would you recommend folks who get a coated car just do the touchless wash?
Actually, I recommend folks that get a coating or any vehicle, just hand wash it. Learn how to hand wash your car. A lot of people have this misconception that hand washing their car is a 2-hour process that they have to haul out all sorts of stuff, and it becomes a big production. It doesn't have to be a big production. You can wash your car in under half an hour at home. It'll take you less time once you're set up properly. And by set up, I mean you have a bit of rinseless or some soap. You don't need a foam cannon. You don't need a pressure washer. You can do it with a garden hose, but chemical rinse, chemical contact wash, dry, you're looking at a half hour maximum. And it's going to take you that long to drive to the car wash, go through the car wash, wait in line maybe to get into the car wash, dry all the little drips afterwards, and drive back home. So you might as well just stay home, do it yourself, have some fun. And it's a good family activity. One of the basis founding points of DIY detail is I remember my childhood where I'd ride my bike around and see, the dads Saturday morning out there washing cars. We don't see that anymore. And one of the things with DIY details, we want to bring that back. Detailing and maintaining your vehicle should be fun. It should be a point of pride. It should be something you enjoy doing. And that car wash, going to the car wash, yes, it's extremely convenient. You can do it on the way home from work, whatever. But try to stay away from the car wash. Now, if you have to go to a car wash, the touch-free once in a while. But again, they're not removing all the dirt. So you have the touchless car wash or the touch car wash, the brush car wash that might be putting a drying aid that's attracting dirt. Then you have the other car wash that's bombarding you with extremely harsh chemicals and at the same time not removing all the dirt. Either way, you're not getting a clean car. You're getting a cleaned car, but you're not getting a clean car. And the only way to really get a clean car, do it yourself at home or hire a detailer. A lot of people think that if they hire a detailer, it's going to cost them $500 to have the car wash. There's a lot of good mobile detailers that do a regular maintenance wash. You can get on a subscription plan, either a mobile detailer or a detailing shop. You can get on a weekly or a monthly subscription plan for them to clean your car, and they do it well, they do it properly. And if you're watching this channel, you probably have an idea already how to wash a car, or you want to learn how to wash a car. So you can critique your detailer, read all their...
detailers love that.
No, but not critique, but read the reviews, see what other customers say. And when they come to wash your car the first time, just watch how they do it. And if it's, if there's something that bothers you in their technique, kindly let them know. Say, hey, I notice you just, and this is something that a lot of people don't practice the foam rinse foam method. Some people foam on the car and immediately with their wash mitt go at it. The grit is still all there. That's why we like the foam rinse foam. And a lot of car washes actually practice the foam rinse foam other than the kids at the front with the brush, but they will foam on a soap. They will give a quick rinse. They will foam again, then they will brush. And some of the car washes that do that, that's a lot safer. And you can, as you're driving up to the car wash, especially if you have a coated car, put your hand out the window and say, hey, don't pre-treat it, please. Close your window and drive through. And it'll be fine because you have a coated car. Just that initial soap is probably going to take most of it off anyways. So those are things you can do to make a car wash safer. Yes, you can go through a car wash with a coated car. It is not a death sentence for your paint to go through a car wash. It may give it, the odd little love mark here and there. Don't worry about it. It's just paint. And there are other things that you do with your vehicle that might be even worse.
So there's option 3, right? There's hand wash it at home.
Yeah.
There's option 2A, which is brush wash. Option 2B is the touchless wash with the harsh chemicals.
Yeah.
What about option 3, where you go through and for $5 or however long you're there, it's based on how long you're in there. It's, you know, put the quarters in. You have access to like a hose, and you're under a shelter, but they don't really want you to bring a bucket with rinseless in there. They kind of frown upon that. They don't want you taking up all that time. You often get a lot of RVs and big trucks in these drive-through areas. What is a really fast way? Would it be get in there if you have a coated car and just like hose it down and then spray some rinseless on there as you're drying a wash? Or would it be spray rinseless on, hose it down, and then use like ceramic gloss or rinseless as your wash dry? Like, I don't know. Give me some options there to get creative. I know it's less than ideal, but like, I'm asking for a friend. Ideal,
but asking for a friend. And we actually have a video on this. So one thing you can do is, depending on how dirty your car is, you can pre-treat it before going in. So you're waiting in line to, you're next in line.
But if it's really hot and sunny out, I tried that recently and it etched a bunch of stuff. If it's really hot and sunny out, don't do this because sometimes the wait takes longer. Anyway, continue on.
Well, pre-treating with rinseless, not with APC. So pre-treat with a bit of rinseless. You're next in line. The person's almost done. Spray a bit of rinseless, go in. The other thing you can do, they all have a foam option. It's not exactly a foam cannon, but they have a pre-soak or pre-soap option. Put that on. Let it sit for a minute.
I mean, how bad can it be, right?
Yeah, no, they're not going to be any harsher chemical than in the touch-free car wash. So
yeah.
Put that on. Let it sit. Put in just the minimal amount of quarters. Get that on. Wait a minute or two. Put in some more quarters, and then rinse it off. Foam it again. Rinse it again. Leave it wet. Put on some rinseless wash. Then drive home. Yes, you're going to get a bit of dirt on the way home. Don't worry about it. Then when you get home, if you live in an apartment, you don't have access to a hose or anything, just, again, spray some rinseless wash on it, wash it with the rinseless, dry it off, and you're done. For those of us that have to deal with winter, that's actually a good way. It's a sunny day. There's not a big accumulation of snow on the road. Go to that coin-op car wash, do the pre-treating there, bring it home, put some hot water in your bucket, and wash your car and dry it outside. You'll be fine. I'm
going to try that, Ivan. I'm going to report back.
Yeah.
The last thing is how to really mess up your ceramic coating. I want to get back to that. One thing that we didn't talk about yet that I wanted to is just curing time. And whether it's the stack, whether it's how long after you've coated it until it gets exposed to the elements or until you wash it. Let's just really talk about curing time. A few basic points. It's not actually that complicated. It's just get this stuff right and you won't screw up your coating.
Right. First thing, before you get it wet, at least 1 hour. Before you wash it, you want to wait a week if you can. Now, we mentioned it before. If you have bugs, if you have bird droppings, you want to get those off sooner than later. But if you don't have bugs and you don't have bird droppings, just be patient and wait a week to wash your car. I know it's a hard, long week. Just do it. It will be the best thing for your coating. Now, can you wash it a day or two later? Yes, you can. Should you wash it? No. Again, if you can avoid washing for a week, please avoid washing. It's just going to make your coating last longer. It's not the surfactants. After a day or so, the surfactants are no longer a concern. At that point, it's the pressure from the washing and the bonding process between the coating and the paint that could be compromised. And I say could be. It's not 100%. And if you're gentle with your wash, yes, but just play it on the safe side and, relax a few days.
I like it, Ivan. Detailing should be fun. Yep. Ceramic coating is not hard. Hopefully you've learned some lessons in this. Last thought is just having a ceramic coating is so much better than not having one.
100%. You need a ceramic coating. If you've never had a ceramic coating, you want a ceramic coating. It's that simple. Once you have one, it doesn't require some elaborate maintenance procedure that, it used to take you half an hour to wash a car, but now because you have a ceramic coating, it takes you 5 days. No, not at all. It's going to be easier, faster, and more fun to wash a car with ceramic coating.
With that being said, Ivan, once every 6 months or so, you are going to want to do a deeper dive, and you may wonder, well, what special things do I do for a coated vehicle? Ceramic coating maintenance, how to really rejuvenate your ceramic coating. That video is right here.